So welcome back to my huge channel, everybody. Today is a big day. It's a day where we decide on one important item of fashion. We are all busy people. We all have a very full schedule in life, no matter what we're doing. No matter if we are scientists, academics, creatives, dancers, or actors, we all have the same problem, even if we're politicians. We all crave this one item for years, for centuries. We are searching for it. We're trying to find it. We're trying to find something that resembles something that we love. We go for a cheaper version. And then we end up sad and trying to find a new one the next year. And I want this vicious circle to end today. We're going to make a right decision, and just once, and one good one. And one important person called Mama Mucha once said something that I just want to speak out loud here. Fashion is something very important. It is so important because it is the only thing that people see immediately of you. In some form, it is an instant language. So fashion in a different universe is actually a form of language. So write this into your CV, you're multilingual because you speak fashion. And that's why fashion is also important. It's not only fashion. It's way more than that. It's how you speak to the world around you. And now that we're getting into the cold season, as much as you love Christmas trees, mulled wine, ugly little socks that keep you warm, it's just so exhausting. Especially if you live in a very crowded city that is kind of small, but the population is not. People are everywhere. Like, people are on the streets, in the metro, outside of the metro, around the metro, in the supermarket, in front of your house. They're everywhere. And you are surrounded by them because you don't have a car. And even if you have one, you cannot use it because it's again so crowded. So being outside in winter is a very special situation for humans that care about fashion. We seriously should consider reproducing ourselves also. So what you want is to reflect your style in the best way possible. Like, you want to feel comfortable in your look, you want to feel like you have arrived in your look, that it reflects your personality, that you're not overdone, that you're not too less done, that it's 100% the person that you are. You know, you don't want to feel forced to look into every mirror you're crossing when you're crossing the sidewalk. And if you don't check your look when you're crossing the sidewalk, I appreciate you. You're the chosen child of God that has a lot of self-confidence. Anyway, what I actually want to say is, if you live under these kind of terrible circumstances locally and not globally, of course, you need one item of protection that is helping you. It's a piece of fabric. It's a rough texture. It's something surrounding our bodies and giving us the warmth and being in our mother's wombs, or just feeling protected in general. And yes, you're right. I'm talking about the modern coat. And the good thing about this is you will only need one coat for the next years, actually. You will just need one silhouette that works for you. And there is actually just one silhouette that you really love. But a lot of people are surrounded by so many trends that you keep forgetting of what you actually like. And I know this horse riding Barber jacket that you saw on Alexa Chung is super cute, and you think like, I can evolve my preppy style with this also. You know, I don't always want to be cool, but at the end you're just cool and you're not preppy, so you should not try to buy it. I have a selection of like 20 coats, I think. And please don't say, Tuba, all of these coats look the same because they're just your personal taste. They're not. They are different from each other, and I hope everybody sees that. I do have the tendency to like more single-breasted coats, and this is actually a trend because it's a trend, but also we're bored because for 15 years we've been wearing double-breasted. Double-breasted has like their own space in the world of fashion, which we need to respect. It's amazing, and it changed for me a lot when it like got popular. But we're in the era of single-breasted coats. I do have some different styles also though. And we just need to be aware of the fact that your coat is your substitute to what your car is in winter. Like, you don't have a car roof, you don't have a heating, you don't have the comfort of just chilling in traffic. You're outside at your bus station or your metro station. So a coat is essential, and I think we need to be aware of that. It cannot be, we need to splurge a bit. We need to splurge a bit because it's a substitute to your car. So yeah, that just to have this on your mind. And fabrics are expensive, especially when produced in Europe. And please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet, because I know half of you guys haven't done it. It really helps me and motivates me to continue, and I see that we're slightly growing, which is amazing. So I would really appreciate that. I will leave the links down below also of my Discord chat, which is amazing and full of genius people talking about fashion. So I can definitely recommend you to join the Discord. The link is also down below on my Instagram if you want to follow me, how I run around the city. So I'm going kind of chronologically concerning the price point. I'm starting with the most affordable ones, and I did a big Essence selection here because, to be very honest, they have the biggest curation of a lot of brands, and I think everybody can order from Essence as well. So I wanted to have a shop that is like super global and has not like a too feminine or too androgynous, too avant-garde selection. So Essence was the best provider here. So I'm starting with the first brand that I personally love. I'm of course only showing things that I would also wear. It's Studio Nicholson. And Studio Nicholson is a London-based brand, as you might know. They also have stores there which look amazing. And they create usually very flowy, big garments, always with a refined design and minimalistic, but absolutely not boring cuts and very recognizable silhouettes that got him very popular in the last 5 years, I would say, where we saw a lot of white pants, white shirts, cropped shirts. It's like the visual aesthetic we've been seeing a lot in the last years that also catapulted Studio Nicholson into more commercial success, which is amazing. Like I'm very happy to see that niche and smaller brands are getting huge. So this happened to Studio Nicholson, and I've been always a fan of their coats. So the first coat is a wool blend canvas coat. It's 70% wool, 30% polyamide. Polyamide is still better than polyester, just FYI. It's made in Portugal. I think this is a very classic silhouette. By the way, I'm also kind of fed up with these floor length coats. I think they're a bit off now because we've seen it so much, and it gives, to me personally, since we are a bit, the one thing that we can get from quiet luxury that is like, that we can benefit of and that is okay to appreciate about maybe this trend is a bit more comfort and not so much avant-garde, like taking yourself so seriously, floor length coats, big shoulders. That's also why I'm not showing any Saint Laurent, also not the Row. Like, let's be realistic. Like, this is a very realistic selection. So there's one trench coat that is extremely distinct. I have not seen this kind of design yet of any trench coat. And I'm personally not a trench coat person. Like, I really don't like trench coats. I usually feel like they don't give you anything. It just looks like it's a Burberry lookalike, and I even don't like the Burberry one. So it's kind of problematic. What I like about trench coats is when they're dark. So when it's like a dark green, dark black, dark blue or something. And if it has something interesting about them. And this model here, it's 59% cotton and the rest is polyamide again. It is super interesting because you have the slightly X-shaped figure. You still have these very distinct features of a trench coat, but it looks very modern. You can really rely on Studio Nicholson quality. They have amazing pieces. The second trench coat they have, it's like, for example, a completely different look because you have the A-line shape here. The other one was more X-shaped. So this is more conservative, more classic. I just love that you have these button tabs around the arms that make it look a bit nostalgic, but still modern. You have a bit more length. It makes it look a bit more classical. But yeah, it's still just a very modern shape. It's like a reinvention of the classical trench coat. And I think that's something Studio Nicholson is amazing at, taking something very classical and turning it into a very modern design. So this is a brand I can really recommend. You find all the links down below, by the way. I will link all the products. The second brand I'm talking about is something a bit surprising for me and for you maybe as well. It's HOMMEGIRLS. And if you know how HOMMEGIRLS started, it kind of started like with a very small selection of pieces that looked very trendy to me, you know, the boxer shorts trend, the cropped shirt trend that everybody was DIYing already. And I don't know if I saw it early at the fast fashion retailers and then later at HOMMEGIRLS, but I was shocked how big their portfolio of products is right now and how good some pieces look, especially the coats. So I have to say I had my prejudices until I was very surprised about the expansion, and the fabrication is actually really good. They have the black peaked lapel coat in gray and black, which looks amazing, and a classic coat. And they both have 80% wool and cashmere, and it's made in Italy. They're both single-breasted, have padded shoulders, and it ends around the calves, which is like for me the favorite positioning right now. Like I don't want to have the vampire vibes with the coat that goes down to the floor. It's too eccentric for me, you know. If you have them, it's amazing. I also have a coat that is like that. I would just not recommend purchasing it anymore. So these Girls coats are now from women's wear, but by the way, like all the coats I'm recommending are both wearable for men's and women's. I think all my coats are men's, and I think men's can wear the women's ones as well if you maybe size up 1 or 2 sizes. Overall, I would always recommend to size up like 2 sizes minimum to have like the over flowy fabric, rich in fabric look. You know the term for rich in fabric in German if you watched my previous videos. So let's come to number 3, which is probably like one of the most popular brands out there. Currently, I would also say it's Lemaire. I don't have to say a lot about Lemaire. I think everybody knows the French brand, known for its neutral tone garments. And I would say it's nature or traditional craftsmanship inspired pieces mainly. They're also pretty famous for their coats. And I know that everybody loves their wrap coat. It's the best seller, I feel, but I checked it out in store and I was not really sure about it. And I would not say I'm a fabrics geek, but I do care a lot about fabrics and what they look like. And I think I do have an eye for it. And it was not convincing, like especially not for the price. And I didn't even look at the price. I think overall, I think it's like a medium price range for luxury brands. And Lemaire's like still a bit under, of course, like the big ones, but it was definitely not giving what I was expecting. I was very surprised about that. But I found another coat that I liked way more, and it was also in store. It's called Crombie coat, and I think it's way less popular and less people know about it than the wrap coat, which is also a signature piece of Lemaire. But the other coat looked way better. It was a mix of cotton and virgin wool, which is it's a decent mix of materials. And it looked very nice and even a bit more simple. I think the wrap coat is, again, a very distinct aesthetic. If it's your aesthetic, it fits perfectly. But I do believe you can get a bit bored by it, maybe with the color. This was one where I was like, okay, it just looks good. Like it's doing a great job. That's a coat I think you can wear forever, like forever. So coming to the 4th brand I want to recommend, and I always feel weird recommending it because their main portfolio of designs is maybe not certainly my aesthetic, but they have one thing they're amazing at. And if you watched my video last year where I talk about like amazing pieces, not specifically coats, but it was like a lot of things, I just saw that a lot of you guys also bought it. It's well done. And honestly, yes, it's well done in coats. Like, I don't get it, but they're like so good when it comes to coats. And I think it's my almost overall favorite in this video, like the coat I'm talking about now from Well Done. My main favorite, I think it's the one I will talk about at the very, very end. But this one, honestly, it's number 2 or it's sharing place number 1. It's just amazing. I can really recommend. And I only heard a lot of great reviews about their clothes actually as well, like their shirts and sweaters and stuff. It's the green single-breasted coat, which is made like of 80% wool and 20% cashmere. And it's all made in South Korea. And you have a fully rayon satin lining. I think this fit is amazing. The shoulders, the length of the coat, I just love it. They just have one remaining in large, unfortunately, but I think whoever wants it, a size large is actually pretty okay. Like, as I said, like sizing up 1 or 2 is good. Of course, and to see how the arm length looks like, but if you know my Jazana coat I bought and showed in my previous videos, I'm just wrapping it up. Like, I don't care. I want a coat to fit super bulky and big on me, and like, as I said, protection in winter. So it's okay to do the compromise on the arm length. And if you want it, you just get it done, you know, if it's like unbearable for you. But overall, I think it's not that big of a problem. And the same one also exists in brown herringbone, actually, just equally beautiful, I would say, with some fabrics of wool and alpaca. Like, if you know what alpaca is actually capable of in terms of keeping you warm, you would buy this animal at home and just try to create your own alpaca coat every year. It's just amazing. It's I know baby alpaca, I hope it's not something cruel, but like alpaca overall is, I think, the warmest keeping fabric ever. I love cashmere, but alpaca is just keeping you a bit more, it's a bit more rough though. It's keeping you a bit more warm, I would say. So these two coats on Well Done are my absolute favorites. Like, I love it so much. And I think, again, it's a silhouette. You have these wide shoulders, the length, the heaviness, like it works forever. You know, you can wear like your nightgown under it, you can wear your joggers under it, your hoodies under it, you can wear your, I don't know, preppy looks, your chilled looks, your cashmere looks, like everything under it, and it will work forever. And this is something I love about a coat. You know, my problem a bit with the Lemaire ones, the wrap coat, the classics, is like it's going too much into a stylistic direction that I cannot use it. Like, I cannot use it for me with an elegant look. It has too many buttons, too many little tricks and things on it that it doesn't look very elegant to me. So I cannot wear it with it. That means I will need a second coat. So try to go with something very simple but strong in its simpleness. And that's what this coat does, in my opinion. Number 5 is a brand. I think I heard about it on Instagram, to be very honest, since it's the current news portal and nobody's reading newspapers. And newspapers actually never wrote about these kind of brands as well. I think it's okay to get inspiration on Instagram. And it's a brand called Recto. I'm sure you have heard about it, and because it was used like in a lot of editorials, etc. It's a Korean label designed by Jung and is famous like for its simplistic elegance and functionality, and a lot of functional textiles and a lot of neutral colors. And they have one heavy black coat. It's made of 87% wool, and it's made in South Korea. And it's a felted wool blend coat that hides like the buttons under it and has a slightly asymmetrical breasted line, which differentiates it a bit from the others. So I said not everything is single breasted. So this is single breasted, but it's hiding and it's asymmetrical. So I have a very wide portfolio of a selection here. Nobody can say anything else here against me. What I don't like about coats in the female section, that's why I usually never get one, is like, okay, it fits on my shoulders, it's fine, but then they have like a belt around your hip or your waist, and it has too many buttons, and it looks sporty and not elegant, and it's ill-fitting. Like, I don't know, it misses so many points and what I would clarify as an elegant or sophisticated coat. Like, I want to have a coat that I can wear with my joggers and I pull it over and I look better. You know, like, this coat needs to save me. It needs to rescue me from a lot of problematic situations I might be in. You know, like having to run outside, not wanting to change because it's so damn cold. So a coat has a lot of purposes, and one of them is to elevate you. And when I see that a coat is not doing it, you're not giving me anything. And you can be very practical. I know there are a lot of functional coats, but we're not talking about functional jackets today. So this Recto one is, I think, very interesting because it's like super elegant. I think this you can kind of disturb with your casual looks and your joggers and your sneakers. I think this would work. That's why I really like this one. And now we're coming to the last brand I want to talk about. And I said it's one of my favorite brands right now. I don't know if you have heard of it. I can imagine that you have not, because it's a super small brand. It's not alive for a long time yet. But I saw in a store, in the Broken Arm store actually in Paris, that they are selling this brand, and that's how I found out about it. I'm sure the stock is not huge probably right now, but I saw they have it at Essence, and I was kind of surprised about it. And the brand I'm talking about is RIER. The brand RIER is an Austrian label, and that is like deeply inspired by the Austrian Alps and Tyrol and life up in the mountains, but also like by the founders' expertise, who have built their expertise at Prada, Miu Miu, and Louis Vuitton as well. So there is like a strong fashion expertise and a very strong port of inspiration that is like the Austrian Alps, which is amazing in my opinion. So I just love the simplicity of the brand, the used fabrics, the notion of heritage they're trying to hold on to without being like any form of cliche. And they have one women's wear coat right now that is just 100% brushed wool, and you have 2 flap pockets and very comfortable length overall. I think it's a really nice piece, but there's another one. My most favorite coat right now, and my Jill Zander coat purchase is based on the inspiration of this coat, because I wanted to have something like this. Because I'm myself also, like on my summer vacation in Turkey, I used to be in something like the Alps, and I used to be surrounded by shepherds, and I always loved the way they dress, which is like felted like wool jackets, the hats, you know, like to me the hats looked avant-garde, that was protecting them from the sun, for example. Like I was super inspired as a kid already, and people were kind of making fun of me, of course, like, well, how can you be inspired by shepherds or whatever? And now like the whole fashion world is, but that's another story. They have this one menswear coat, and I think there's just one remaining because they don't have any on their own website as well anymore. I hope they will reintroduce it. It's 100% mountain wool, which means it has a felt like weaving technique, but which is like way softer, and it creates a very robust and strong fabric. Yeah, and it just looks amazing, the way that it's like super wide, that the arms are not as wide, you know, like you have like normal arms, but the coat itself is like super wide. It's not very long, it goes like to your knees or calves, and it really gives me the feeling of like a blazer coat. It's just a silhouette I have not found anywhere else. And I'm absolutely not talking about the Saint Laurent coats, which are like bestsellers right now for 5K or whatever. I really don't get it, because I feel like this silhouette creates like such an interesting look. Like wear it with riding boots, wear it with pumps, wear it with loafers. I think it's just like it elevates like all of the looks, because it looks so humble, but it has an extreme form of design which makes it super interesting. So this is another coat I would definitely recommend you getting. It's a beautiful brand. They have amazing fabrics. Everything is produced in Austria, which is amazing. It's also very important. I don't say products being made in China are not good. They can create honestly everything in every wish quality there. It just means that they have way cheaper laboring costs, what they do on purpose, but then they just keep the same price. So that's why I kind of have an issue when products are being produced in like very low cost labor countries, because I feel like the big brands are exploiting the people there. It's not that the quality that the people can create is not good at all. So this is my selection of amazing winter coats that you need to splurge on maybe a little bit, but you need to do it. Like there's no way out of it. I know that Arcade and COS also have really nice coats, but to be very honest, at the end of the day, it's still fast fashion, and it's okay maybe to do it with a sweater or pair of pants. Your expectations towards a coat are way higher than any other garment or textile fabric that you have. So it is important to have a good piece of coat in your wardrobe. So I can recommend you also only these. Have a look at them. Let me know which ones you liked, which ones you didn't like. What is your personal favorite? I would also like to know what kind of coats you like. Maybe there's something I'm not aware of, and I'm sure there is something in the fashion world I'm not aware of. So let me know down in the comments what you think about the perfect coat, and if you have found it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you have not done it yet. It helps me a lot, and I'm super happy to see that we are like slightly growing. Don't forget to also subscribe to my Discord channel, which is like full of fashion geeks that are like super funny. Sometimes it's so deep I don't understand what they're talking about. That's very funny actually. So it's amazing. I will put the links down below. I'm also on Instagram and on TikTok. Yes, I'm saying it here right now. I have a TikTok channel now. You lost me, guys. You lost me to this media world, and now I'm just there and I'm posting TikTok videos as well. So don't forget about that. I'm also working on a little other project that I think will be pretty cool, and you might guys like it. So let me know down in the comments what you think, and see you to the next one.